My thieving sister-in-law stole my family earrings, then assaulted me. My entire family sided with her, and my brother started fabricating evidence to try to prove that she was innocent. The tension at the dinner table was already thick enough to choke on before I even opened my mouth. My brother, Ryan, and his wife, Chloe, were visiting, acting like the perfect couple despite the financial crater they were digging for their upcoming wedding reception. I had been waiting for the right moment, stewing in my knowledge, and as the main course was cleared, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I looked directly across the table at Chloe. "Where are great-grandma's diamond drop earrings?" I asked, my voice disturbingly calm. Chloe blinked, feigning confusion, a piece of bread halfway to her mouth. "What? I don't know what you're talking about." I didn't argue. I just pulled out my phone, connected it to the dining room TV, and hit play on the app connected to the hidden camera in my bedroom. Before we go deep into it, subscribe the channel, like the video, and tell us in the comment where are you watching from. The footage was in crisp high definition. It showed Chloe slipping into my room during their last visit, rummaging through my jewelry armoire, pocketing the velvet pouch containing the heirlooms, and quickly leaving. The silence in the room was absolute. Ryan was the first to break it, instantly leaping to her defense. "Okay, stop. She only did it because we really needed the help right now." I stared at him, incredulous. "Help? With what?" Chloe finally spoke up, her voice shrill. "I pawned them, okay? We needed the cash flow for the upgraded floral arrangements for the reception. You weren't even wearing them." I saw red. It wasn't just jewelry, it was generations of family history sold for centerpieces. I called her a thieving parasite. My parents just sat there, stunned into silence. I told them to call 911 because I was pressing charges immediately. "You will do no such thing," Chloe hissed. She stood up, walked around the table, and before I could react, slapped me hard across the face. As I reeled back, she grabbed a handful of my hair, screaming that I was ruining everything. The physical altercation escalated quickly. She grabbed a heavy crystal water glass from the table and swung it, connecting hard with the side of my head. I felt a warm trickle of blood start down my neck almost instantly. Through the haze of pain, I saw my mother in the living room, finally dialing emergency services, looking terrified. The police response was fast. When they walked in and saw the blood on my face, they immediately separated us. I tried to explain, but Chloe was already spinning a tale, trying to play the victim, sobbing loudly. The officers looked skeptical at her theatrics versus my actual injuries. When I mentioned the footage that started the whole fight, they asked to see it. It took them about 30 seconds of watching her steal from me to make their decision. They handcuffed Chloe right there in my parents' dining room. I felt a grim sense of satisfaction as they let her out. Chloe was someone who desperately needed to be the center of attention, obsessed with living a luxury lifestyle she couldn't afford. She was constantly maxing out credit cards to fund this delusion of grandeur. And my brother, Ryan, always the enabler, just let it happen, terrified of losing a woman who looked good on his arm, regardless of the rotting core underneath. I assumed that seeing his wife arrested for theft and witnessing her assault his sister might shake some sense into Ryan. I was wrong. His fear of being alone and his desperate need to maintain the facade of a perfect life overrode any moral compass he had left. He bailed Chloe out that very same night. It didn't matter that she had betrayed our family's trust in the most violating way possible. His loyalty to her toxic behavior was unwavering. He had already mentally rewritten the narrative to make her the victim. Ryan showed up at my apartment later that night, absolutely furious. He wasn't there to apologize for his wife splitting my head open. He was there to accuse me of blowing everything out of proportion. "They were just old earrings. They probably weren't even worth that much," he yelled, pacing my living room. Chloe was desperate. We needed that money for the wedding budget. She's family now. She had just as much right to use those resources as you did. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Resources? They were great-grandma's heirlooms. "It's not about the money, Ryan, it's about the betrayal." And she attacked me with glass. I'm lucky I didn't need stitches. He waved his hand dismissively. "You provoked her. You backed her into a corner. If you just drop the charges for the theft, the assault charge goes away too. Stop being so dramatic." When I refused to back down, he changed tactics. He started poisoning the well with the rest of the family. Ryan had always been the golden child, the youngest, the one who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. It wasn't hard for him to twist their perception. He played the role of the protective husband, standing by his distraught wife. A few days later, my mom called. I almost let it go to voicemail, knowing exactly what kind of conversation it would be. When I picked up, I could hear the exhaustion in her voice. She started with hesitant small talk before getting to the point. I talked to Ryan. He explained the whole situation to us. It's all just so disappointing, and it's tearing everyone apart. I stayed silent, letting her dig the hole. I knew Ryan had gotten to her. Look, she continued. Things got out of hand on both sides. I think the best path forward to heal the family is for you to apologize to Chloe for embarrassing her, and we can all move past this. My jaw dropped. Apologize to the woman who stole from me and smashed a glass over my head? My mom wasn't worried about right or wrong. She was worried about appearances. She just wanted everything smoothed over, regardless of the cost to me. I hung up on her. That was the breaking point. Half the extended family was now taking Ryan's side based on his lies. My own parents had turned against me to protect their precious son and his criminal wife. Heartbroken but determined, I decided I was done being gaslit. I was proceeding with full charges against Chloe. If my brother wanted a war to protect a thief, he was going to get one. Ryan wasted zero time escalating his tactics. Once he realized I wasn't dropping the charges, he began a smear campaign, telling aunts, uncles, and cousins that I was only pursuing this because I was a bitter, lonely spinster jealous of the fact that he had found love. He painted me as greedy, claiming I only cared about the monetary value of the earrings, not the sentimental attachment. It was painful to watch relatives I used to trust start looking at me sideways, wondering if I really was just being vindictive. Knowing I couldn't navigate this emotional and legal minefield alone, I hired a tough-as-nails lawyer. We thought the case was a slam dunk. We had high-definition video of the theft and police reports of the assault. But I severely underestimated the lengths Ryan would go to avoid facing reality. As soon as the discovery phase of the legal process began, my lawyer uncovered that Ryan was actively trying to sabotage the case. He had approached a couple of distant cousins who were struggling financially and bribed them. He paid them to agree to testify that they had heard me on multiple occasions say I hated those old earrings and had told Chloe she could have them as a wedding gift. It was a complete fabrication, but the sheer audacity left me reeling. He was willing to suborn perjury just to make me look like the villain. But the worst blow came when Ryan submitted physical evidence to the court. My lawyer called me into his office, his expression grim. He turned his monitor around to show me a series of screenshots. They were text messages between me and Chloe. The texts were dated weeks before the theft. In them, I appeared to be telling Chloe that she could borrow whatever jewelry she needed for the wedding events. One text specifically read, "Honestly, just keep the old diamond drops. They aren't my style anyway. Consider them an early wedding present." I felt sick to my stomach. I had never written those messages. I had no idea how he had spoofed my number or created such convincing fakes, but it was clear he was willing to commit felonies to protect Chloe. He wasn't just trying to win a legal battle, he was trying to destroy my character completely. Every new low he stooped to was a stark reminder that my brother would rather burn me to the ground than admit he married a criminal. My lawyer, however, was not deterred. He hired a digital forensics expert to analyze the screenshots. He also sent a private investigator to interview the cousins Ryan had bribed. One of them crumbled under pressure off the record, admitting Ryan had offered them $5,000 to lie on the stand. We had him cornered, but we had to wait for the trial to spring the trap. The day of the trial, the air in the courtroom felt heavy enough to crush me. I knew this was the moment where the truth would finally have to win out, or I would lose everything. My lawyer presented our case methodically, the security footage, the pawn shop records signed by Chloe, the medical reports of my injuries. Then, Ryan's defense team began calling their witnesses. The first was one of the distant cousins he had bribed. Under my lawyer's intense cross-examination, the cousin's shaky confidence completely collapsed. Terrified of perjury charges, he broke down on the stand and admitted that Ryan had paid him to fabricate the story about the gift. A murmur went through the courtroom. Ryan, sitting behind Chloe, looked like he was going to be sick. The final nail in the coffin came when my lawyer addressed the text messages. Our digital forensics expert took the stand and definitively proved that the images had been digitally altered and originated from software on Ryan's personal laptop. It was undeniable proof that he had tried to deceive the court with forged evidence. The judge's reaction was swift and furious. He stated he was appalled by the depth of the deception. In a stunning move, he ordered the bailiffs to take Ryan into custody immediately right there in the courtroom, charging him with witness tampering, fabrication of evidence, and obstruction of justice. Watching my brother being handcuffed while Chloe sobbed hysterically was surreal. His house of cards had completely collapsed. Without Ryan's fabricated defense, Chloe's conviction for felony theft was practically automatic. But the judge wasn't finished. During the financial investigation into Ryan's bribery payments, another secret came to light. The judge revealed that my grandmother had left a significantly larger inheritance than I knew about. There was a separate trust fund specifically for me that my parents and Ryan had concealed. Ryan, the responsible male heir, had been managing it by draining it to fund Chloe's champagne tastes and his own debts. The betrayal was absolute. The judge awarded me the full value of the earrings, punitive damages for the assault, and ordered the immediate restitution of the entire stolen trust fund. Walking out of that courtroom, I saw my mother. She looked utterly destroyed. For months she had protected the wrong child, worried about appearances. Now, she had to face the reality that her golden son was going to prison for a long time because of his own actions. I felt a distant pang of pity, but I kept walking. Once the legal dust settled and the funds were transferred to my control, I knew I needed to escape. The money felt tainted by their betrayal, but I decided to use it to heal. I booked a one-way ticket to a luxury resort in the Cayman Islands. It was the farthest I could get from the wreckage of my family. While Ryan sits in a cell and Chloe faces life as a convicted felon, I'm sitting on a beach, finally able to breathe, letting the ocean wash away the last year of nightmare. If you enjoyed the story, subscribe the channel, like the video, and tell us in the comment where are you watching from.